like, holy cow, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
So, that being said, it's not time to panic for the Bills. They're 4-2. They played two good teams, the Titans and the Chiefs. But my thing has always been, it's not that you lost, it's how you lost. And they've lost pretty badly the last couple of weeks. And this defense is very concerning because, like I said, I don't care how good your offense is this year. If you're giving up 42 points a game, 245 rushing yards a game, you're nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I said, they're 4-2. They are one game up on not the Patriots, but the Miami Dolphins, who are 3-3. The Patriots are actually 2-3 now, as they lost to 6 field goals from Brandon McManus. As the Broncos took this one 18-12.
Hopefully, people who had Brandon McManus in their league had a lot of fantasy points. But, yeah, Drew Lock actually became the youngest opposing player to beat the Patriots in Foxborough, which I think it was actually Brandon McManus, but he was the starting quarterback, so we'll give him the stat. Yeah, I mean, this game wasn't so, it wasn't that interesting in my opinion. I mean, Philip Lindsay got back to, a dominant game because obviously Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon got traded.
No, he was out. He had an injury.
Yeah, so Philip.
And he's probably going to be facing a suspension with his DUI.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that. So, yeah, Philip Lindsay filled the role very well. Tim Patrick, who I believe came out of nowhere. All these guys this year because of injuries and whatnot.
Cortland Sutton's out.
Yeah, they're coming out of nowhere, and it's really nice to see all these practice squad members being moved to the main roster and whatnot. So Tim Patrick had 101 yards receiving, and Denver defense looked stellar. They caused Cam Newton to fumble twice as well as to throw 2 interceptions. So for the Patriots, like I said, Cam Newton struggled. He did have a rushing score though. James White was the main target for Cam Newton as he gained 65 yards receiving, and I just think that the Patriots couldn't get anything going the whole game.
Now, obviously, it's still early, and the Patriots really haven't been able to practice or play over the last couple of weeks, so they're still not in regular season form yet, I would say, because there's no way the Patriots finish with the losing record. They're obviously not going to be as good as they've been with Tom Brady, but I'm still not going to count them out, especially only being, a game and a half up on them.
Yeah.
Now, a team that is kind of threatening here, the Miami Dolphins, surprisingly, with Ryan Fitzpatrick, as they beat the Jets 24-0. Now, the Jets are obviously terrible.
They're terrible.
But still, the Dolphins, the last couple of weeks, he beat San Fran.
They've been showing out, yeah.
And, again, it's like I was saying with the Bills, it's not about it's not that they lost, it's how they lost. Again, with the Dolphins, it's not that they won, it's how they won. And they've looked really well. And Fitzpatrick, again, 18-27, 191 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the way.
Yeah, obviously, to lose to the Jets at this point would be, pretty embarrassing. But it was nice because I'm not even going to say his last name because I can't. But Tua got his first NFL action. They benched Fitzpatrick towards the end of the game, and they let him get a couple passes in. I think he had 2 pass attempts. So just to get him ready for when he does start, so that's nice. And like we said, I don't know what's wrong with the Jets. We talked about this last time I was on. But
Adam Gase is wrong.
I don't know. They're ruining Darnold's career, and Adam Gase, I think, needs to be fired. But, yeah.
Well, he's ruined a ton of top players. Jamal Adams was there, traded away to Seattle. Now Le'Veon Bell requests a trade, and now they released him.
Signed with the Chiefs.
He's with the Chiefs. He's with your Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah. Who was the other one? Leonard Williams on the D-line. Now they just traded Steve
Quinnen
McClendon.
Williams and something about Quinnen Williams now. I don't
Sam
remember.
Darnold. He seems like a lost cause at this point. So on the bright side for the Bills, they play the Jets next week. And, after seeing Tennessee, you can't take any team lightly because I think the Bills did that against Tennessee and it showed. Now, I'm not saying the Jets are like the Titans, so I think they can still win, but the fact of the matter is the Bills need to show up next Sunday against the Jets because that's a great game for them to get back into the groove, get the defense going again, get the offense going. Hopefully it won't be raining and Allen can throw better because I don't know if I mentioned this, but he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great again.
That first drive looked daunting. He missed 3. I remember there was a touchdown. It would have been a touchdown if he hit. I think it was Diggs. I don't know who it was, but it was a clear. Whoever it was beat one of the corners, and it was a surefire touchdown. He overthrew him by about 3 or 4 yards.
Definitely a below-average game for Josh Allen. So, yeah, the Bills need a huge bounce-back game next week, and what better opponent to be
the Jets.
So
0-6.
I'm hoping, huge win, because the Bills did give up 17 points to the Jets, which now looking back at it, it's like maybe we should have known then that the defense was going to struggle. But, yeah, the Bills have a lot of questions to answer here on defense coming up. But moving on now, Houston and Tennessee. This is a great game.
This was a great game.
Back and forth.
I think this was, they were talking about the Packers and Buccaneers being America's game of the week. I think this was America's game of the week for sure.
Yeah, so Tennessee took this one 42-36 in overtime. It looked like it was all Tennessee at first.
Yep.
Houston fought their way back, and then Derrick Henry pulled off a 94-yard touchdown run, and then let's see what the Titans.
A.J. Brown with like 4 seconds left.
Yeah, Tannehill found him with 4 seconds left.
Honestly, Derrick Henry, just him running the ball late in the game is just deflating. It's just. You wouldn't want to tackle a man who's 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds. Especially third, fourth quarter when you're getting tired and exhausted. So,
212 yards he had.
Yeah.
And 2 touchdowns. And then Ryan Tannehill, 30 of 41, 364, and 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
So the Titans are 5-0. They're playing the 5-0 Steelers next week, and we will be talking about the Steelers momentarily because first we have the Bengals and the Colts. So. The Colts overcome a 21-point deficit on Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and they take this one by final 31-27.
I feel like recently people were saying, Rivers is washed up. He's not the same. But, his last year with the Chargers, I don't think he really proved a lot. And then he became a free agent, and the Colts were like, you know what? He's a grizzled veteran. Let's give him a chance. And, this is where that signing, pays off. I don't know if Brissett could have pulled this off, like the backup for the Colts, but I wouldn't count out old man Rivers just yet.
Yeah, I think I was saying that last year. I think Rivers still has juice left in the tank. I mean, look at Brady. He's 42, and he's still getting it done. So Rivers isn't as old, but I think put him with a good offensive line like the Colts. I was saying in March when they signed him, that's a perfect landing spot for Rivers because they built up that line. You thought they built it up for Luck. He walks out, and then Phillip Rivers walks in, and now he has a nice line to play behind. And even with the Chargers, it's not even like their line was like that terrible. It's just they had so many injuries that offense around them was just not good. So I think it was a nice spot for Rivers, and the Colts are now 4-2.
Yeah, looking sharp.
And like I said, we had to talk about the Steelers as well. Rounding out not rounding out the AFC North. We'll be talking about Baltimore in the next segment, but the Steelers took this one 38-7 over the Browns. Again, they're 5-0, and
dominant victory.
The Browns look like the Browns again.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield gets benched, and I don't know what to think about the Browns.
I don't know either. I do know that Roethlisberger is playing like a comeback player of the year candidate. That's all I know. But this game, he really didn't contribute a lot. It was more the rushing game. 3 Steelers running backs each had a touchdown, and James Conner had 100 yards rushing. So I feel like it was more the ground game. That's what probably beat the Browns up. Because Roethlisberger barely had, I don't even think he had 200 yards. So that just shows, time of possession. Like the Chiefs-Bills game, if you keep running out the clock with runs, I don't know how you're going to stop the game or the team,
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know what to think about the Browns. Do you think they're back to the old Browns, or do you think it's just a fluke and, they're still 4-2 and there's a lot of season left and they're going to improve from here? So what do you think about that?
I think there's a lot of season left. I did see them getting a wild card spot this year, but
yeah, there is that extra wild card spot.
I don't know how it's going to look now.
All right, and real quick, I know this is part of our NFC segment, but might as well ask. Have another doubleheader here on Monday Night Football. So right now it's the Cardinals and the Cowboys. Who do you like in this one? I don't even know. Do we have an update on that game? 7-0. So who do you like in this one?
Dallas fans, real quick, don't worry about Dalton. He's going to play great for you guys. You have a great team around you. But I think I'm going with the Cardinals you got too many weapons. Kyler Murray, who's playing great in the air and on the ground too, and then also DeAndre Hopkins. I think it's going to be hard to stop him tonight. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cardinals too. It's 7-0 Cardinals, by the way. Just getting underway in the second quarter. And I think, like you said, too many weapons, and the loss of Dak is going to be too much to overcome tonight. I don't think Dallas is done, especially with that NFC East, as shaky as it is. But I think for tonight, it'll be the Cardinals. So thanks for coming on. And Jared will be on in a couple minutes to talk about the NFC.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Jared Marsh joins us now for the NFC segment. And before we get into that, Jared, I got to ask, what are your thoughts about this Bills game?
It's, you know, I mean, it sucks, but like at the same time, I mean, the Bills played great. I mean, they really did. I mean, they were only down.
Yeah, I wouldn't say great.
Well, not great, but I mean, you know, it's the Chiefs. You know, I thought they were gonna like demolish
didn't get
us, but they
blown
did.
out. I'll give them
Yes,
that.
yeah, they didn't demolish us. So, but it still sucks. I mean, but,
Yeah. Like I was saying with Aaron, a lot of season left.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Especially with the Patriots not being the Patriots this year. I think,
Yeah.
you know, if there's like a needle for my confidence, it goes down a little bit,
Yeah,
but not
but that
too
goes-
much.
yeah.
Because, you know, I think there's just, 6 games? So we have 10 games left.
yeah, there's
And,
plenty of season left.
You know, now we know our weaknesses, so we
Yeah,
we
that's
we
true.
know what to go fix. So well, I shouldn't say we because we're not part of it. I wish I was part of it. I wish I could go help, but I'll do my part from here.
Yeah.
But for the NFC now, so a team that was really struggling finally did not blow a lead.
Yeah.
And this is the Atlanta Falcons, who they were in their first game in the post Dan Quinn era, and they beat Minnesota. They blew them out actually. The score was 40-23, but the scoreboard really wasn't reflective of how dominant the game was from the Falcons.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've been talking about it, for the last 4 weeks now. I mean, the Falcons finally get their first win. I mean, and again, I mean, it could not have come at a better time. I mean, they really needed this win. Matt Ryan, he throws for 371 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, but or two touchdowns, sorry, not 1. But
Wait, I have 4.
Oh, you have 4. Oh, all right, 4 touchdowns. My mistake. I was gonna say.
ESPN has 30 of 40, 371 yards and 4
Okay.
touchdowns.
Yeah, but I mean, it's this is the Falcons that we saw like a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I mean, this is finally what Atlanta was supposed to be. About time that they've got their first win, and even Julio Jones he played really well actually. He
Yeah,
had
first game
two
back from
touchdowns.
injury.
2 touchdowns. So,
Over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, 20 carries, 47 yards, so not his typical game. And then for Minnesota, the one bright spot for them, Justin Jefferson, 9 catches, 166 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, I know some of that came in garbage time and kind of padding the stats a little bit, but still, I mean, he has, I can't remember the exact stat, but I think 537 yards now?
It's
for a rookie. I mean, he pretty much replaced Stephon Diggs because
pretty much.
they selected him with that first-round pick that the Bills gave him.
Yeah, it was
so
perfect.
each receiver has, I think they're both at about around like that 550 mark.
Yeah. Although on the first play, unfortunately for Kirk Cousins, he throws an interception. I mean, he didn't start the game so hot. You know, he still throws for 343 yards with 3 touchdowns but 3 interceptions. And of course, the first play he throws, it's an interception. So
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is, I don't know.
yeah,
He's I don't want to say overrated because I think a lot of people say that he stinks.
yeah.
So I guess I don't really know what the word is to describe Kirk Cousins because like
He's mediocre, maybe.
yeah, like maybe slightly above mediocre.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes he'll be really good. Like I think he's had a couple of years where he's thrown for almost 5,000 yards, or at least 4,000, and he's gotten his teams to the playoffs, but then he's just not clutch.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the best word, not clutch.
Yeah.
The best 2 words.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Vikings are 1-5 now.
Actually, both teams are now 1-5, and they're both last in their divisions. So
Yeah.
I guess really the biggest question on this game is, can Atlanta keep this win streak up? I mean, I know it's only 1 game, but can they move forward now that they have momentum?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the biggest question for this.
So, like I said, the Vikings are 1-5. Another team in the same division with an opposite record, the Bears are 5-1 now with Nick Foles, and they beat Carolina 23-16.
Bears are on fire this season. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, this is the first time since 2006 the Bears were 3-0 on the road. Since 2006, wow. Nick Foles looked great. He threw for 198 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Even the defense was on fire too.
Yeah, that defense has been showing up lately, and I've been talking about this the last couple of weeks with all of our analysts here for the NFC side. So I think we've talked about this before, but I'm curious to see what they would have been like with Mitch Trubisky right now, because they were 3-0 when they took him out.
That is true.
So I wonder if they still could have been 5-1, because I was kind of questioning. I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Foles is a better quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to answer that question. I mean, because Nick Foles is great. I mean, but Mitch is good too. I mean, I don't know. I'd say definitely keep Nick Foles right now, though. I mean, definitely keep him. Yeah, just keep playing him.
So another team in that NFC North, they're not really fighting for the top spot right now, but Detroit, big win yesterday in Jacksonville, 34-16.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions came into the game less than 95 yards rushing in their last 3 games. I guess the biggest player, though, that really made an impact in this game is DeAndre Swift. And the offensive line just took over. I mean, the defense wasn't good, but I mean, the offensive, I think they ran for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Matt Stafford throws for 223 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. But I mean, they came to play.
Yeah, that's been a very intriguing spot for me this year, is the Lions' backfield.
Yeah.
Because I really like Kerryon Johnson, and then they draft DeAndre Swift, and I'm like, wow, what a perfect one-two punch.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they sign Adrian Peterson. I'm like, okay, wait, what are they doing? I'm like, okay, maybe they'll just keep Peterson on the bench, put him in for a few snaps here and there. But then he was like RB1. They named him the starter over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And then they were on the bye last week, and now this week it looks like Swift is the guy. So I don't know.
It bounces back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I would definitely keep Swift in. I mean, I have Adrian Peterson on my fantasy team. He got me a couple points, but
yeah, he did get a touchdown yesterday.
So
Swift had 2, like we said.
I don't know. I mean, I'd either choose between Swift or Adrian Peterson, but I'd say just keep switching them on and off. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Lions moving forward.
So the official box score stats: DeAndre Swift, 14 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson, 15 carries, 40 yards, 1 touchdown, and then Kerryon Johnson 4 carries, 9 yards, and then no touchdowns. And actually, his longest run was 9 yards. So he had 3 runs that were either negative or no yardage at all. So I guess it's Swift and Peterson, but like we said, it fluctuates every week.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Jags, they just struggled. I mean, Minshew throws for 243 yards, but the rookie James Robinson, he was kept in check by the worst run defense in the NFL. He was kept in check by them. I mean, they had either one guy or even 2 guys on him at all times. So I definitely think it was a great move by the defensive coordinator. But I mean, the offensive line came to play.
Now going over to the NFC East, the Giants won their first game of the year. However, there was some controversy at the end of the game, not on the play that happened, but the call, because Ron Rivera elected to go for the win instead of the tie.
Yeah, that shocked me.
Yeah, the Redskins fell short by a point, and I've never been a fan of that. I would think, just go for the tie and go into overtime.
Yeah, I mean, the football team, again, is coming off another loss. This is their 5th straight loss. I mean,
wait, did I say Redskins?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, sorry.
Football team.
The football team.
So Kyle Allen, I mean, he throws for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I mean, we saw Alex Smith play last week. I mean, he did okay. I mean, obviously, it was his first game back. But, I mean, who really is the quarterback for this team? I mean, obviously, it's Kyle Allen. I mean, Dwayne Haskins is good too, but I don't know. I mean, obviously with Rivera and Allen when they were partners in Carolina, I mean, so I think he'll definitely keep Allen in there.
Yeah, so like I said, Giants get their first win of the year, and I want to say, what is it? They're 1 or a game and a half? Well, it depends on the game tonight, but they're as terrible as they've been, they're not out of it in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Because going to our next game now, Philly lost again to Baltimore. Again, their comeback fell short, and they went for 2, didn't get it, couldn't tie the game up, and they lost 30-28.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a great game between, two great quarterbacks. I mean, Lamar and, Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz hasn't been, how he used to play, but, Lamar comes out on top. Lamar throws for 186 yards and only 1 touchdown pass, but he has 9 carries and 108 yards. This guy's all over the place. I mean, he could just be their whole offense, He could be the quarterback and he could be the running back.
And even worse for the Eagles. So they are 1-4, like I said.
Yeah.
And now they lost Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz for, I don't know how long Sanders is out, but Ertz is out 3 to 4 weeks. He's my fantasy tight end, but he's done nothing really anyways this year. I mean, maybe he's been really good in the blocking game, but yeah, it's not looking good for Philly right now.
Yeah.
So, a team that is looking good right now, Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. And they just completely took it to Green Bay in the last 3 quarters of the game. 38-10 was the final.
Yeah.
And, it was, 10-0 Green Bay?
10-0 Green Bay. So here's the thing. This is a game of the week, but this was more like the Bucs show. I mean, the Bucs they just came to play. I mean, the Bucs offense and the defense, they both were on fire. I mean, Ronald Jones becomes the 4th running back in Bucs history with over 100+ rushing yards. I mean, their offense is just insane, and so is their defense. I mean, we can, being from Buffalo, I hate Tom Brady, but you know what? The guy's, he knows what he's doing. I mean, any single team that he's on, he comes through. I mean, I have nothing to say about him right now. I mean, I don't like him, but he's fantastic. I'm going to say that.
Yeah. I don't dislike him as much as I did in New England, but I still just cannot root for them, especially, now with Gronk, with his, 5 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown yesterday.
Yeah.
And the dumb Gronk spike, I'm just like, oh, make it stop, please. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess I respect it, especially now that they're out of our division.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe, but then I'm just like, no,
I
can't.
I'm just so happy that I didn't play Aaron Rodgers. I'm so happy that I played Patrick Mahomes over Aaron Rodgers because I don't know what the Packers were doing. I mean, they were definitely going into this thing. They were definitely one of the best teams in the NFL right now. I mean, Rodgers throws 2 interceptions, and the first was a pick 6. I mean, I don't know if Green Bay I don't know what was going on with Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line. I mean, they have weapons. You know, they have Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. I don't know. I mean, obviously Green Bay will come around from this, but I mean, if they keep playing like that, they're not going to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I mean, it's Green Bay, but who knows?
So the Packers are 4-1 now. The Bucs are 4-2.
Yep.
And a couple other games here, real quick. The Rams and the 49ers on Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
People had their choice to choose from between Sunday Night Football and Game 7, as Dee and I will be talking about here in a couple minutes. But Jimmy G came back, and I mean, he got benched the week before at halftime, and he came back, looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
The 49ers got a huge win here.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is definitely big for the 49ers. I mean, after last week with Jimmy G getting benched, I mean, they needed this. I mean, it was a huge win for them. Jimmy G is now 7-1 in primetime games, and George Kittle surpasses Vernon Davis for the most games with 100-plus reception yards by 49ers tight end since 1950. So, I mean...
George Kittle's great.
Yeah, he is. So, I mean, I guess, again, the biggest question is, can the Niners turn it around after this huge win with Jimmy G going forward?
Yeah, and then a little side note to that, can they turn it around, and can they bounce back from these injuries? Can these guys heal from their injuries? I haven't looked at their injury report. I think I saw that Mostert's on the IR now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Did they put him on IR? Is that for a few weeks, or?
I think it's a few weeks.
Or is it the whole year?
I'm not sure. It's either a few weeks or the whole year.
Okay, well, we'll have to double check that. Either way, he's going to be out for a little bit of time here.
Yep.
And the last game, we kind of already talked about it with Aaron, but Cardinals and Cowboys. Now, who did you like before this game started? Because update, Cardinals are up 21-0. Christian Kirk has 2 touchdowns, and we're still in the second quarter here.
You know, again, I mean, I don't like Dallas, but I mean, it's Andy Dalton. I mean, he's still a good quarterback, but I don't know. I guess I'm going to switch to the Cardinals. I mean, it's Kyler Murray. The offensive line and the whole team is just insane, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
So right now, Kyler Murray's 8-19, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 57 rushing yards. And then Christian Kirk, 86 yards, 2 catches, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's a great percentage right there. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. So, all right, that'll do it for the NFL portion of our show. Thanks for coming on. And then Dee will be on in 2 minutes to talk about the MLB, well, not even the playoffs, but the World Series, which start tomorrow.
You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
D. Thomas joins us now for the MLB part of our show. And D, I was halfway right last week. I said Tampa and Atlanta would be in the World Series, but it is Tampa and the Dodgers. So another Tampa and LA team in the finals. We had the Tampa Bay Lightning win the Stanley Cup, the Los Angeles Lakers win the NBA Finals, and now who else but Tampa and LA in the World Series?
Yeah, it's crazy to think. I mean, my prediction last week was right. I wanted the Rays and Dodgers. So I didn't want the Astros in, and they didn't win, but they fought back. They were down in a 3-0 deficit, and they ended up fighting back and winning games 4, 5, and 6 to, make the series very interesting and make the Rays fight to win in Game 7. And all these games were close games in the American League. They're all within 3 or 4, runs, which is crazy. But in the National League side, it was a blowout in a lot of the games too.
Yeah, so before we go over to the NL side, I want to look at what happened here on the AL side. So in Game 1, Tampa took it 2-1. In Game 2, 4-2. Game 3, Tampa won 5-2. And then you're pretty much thinking 3-0. Yeah, Tampa Bay they're going to the World Series, right? Like, there's no way Houston's coming back from this, especially without any trash cans to use this year.
No trash cans are allowed this year.
And then, like you said, you got to give credit where credit's due, and the Astros stormed back. They won Game 4, 4-3, Game 5, 4-3, Game 6, 7-4, and then I was really getting scared. I'm like, they have all the momentum right now. I don't know if I like this, but I did like the matchup, Charlie Morton and Lance McCullers, because Morton is one of the best pitchers right now in the game.
Yeah, he's 3-0 in the postseason right now, which is insane.
And actually, he was a former Astro. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was.
But anyways, yeah, they took that one 4-2 to go to the World Series for the first time since 2008 when they played the Phillies.
Yeah. Another interesting thing that happened is that Randy Arozarena was on fire this whole all of the playoffs so far. He's crushing homers like it's his job, and he's definitely getting paid to do it. He was named the MVP of the American League side, and he was the first rookie to actually do that.
Yeah, he hit .321 with 4 home runs and 6 RBIs in the 7 games. So he's kind of like symbolic of the whole Rays team. A no-name guy, not getting paid a lot of money, coming through. I mean, when you look at, I got to be honest, when the season started, and I think it was one of the first times that the Yankees were playing the Rays, or maybe it wasn't even when the Yankees were playing, just when the Rays started winning, I'm like, man, they're good. Like, they must have signed some good guys that I didn't even realize. And then I look at the roster, I'm like, Willie Adames, Randy Arozarena, Mike Brasso, Brandon Lau. I'm like, wait, who are G-Man Choi? Who are these guys?
Yeah, they're all like first few year guys, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't know who Randy Arozarena was until we started the playoffs, and he was just, unstoppable with his bat. Like he was hitting dingers every series, and almost every game he hit at least one.
Yeah. So before we talk about this Rays lineup more, I'm going to go over to the NL side now. So, excuse me, like we said, the Dodgers are in the World Series for the 3rd time in 4 years. I thought they were going to slip up again. They've had their problems in the postseason, but they came through. Now, they were down 3-1, and they stormed back as well. Atlanta could not hold them off, and the Dodgers won Game 7 last night. I'm blanking. What was this?
3-2.
Okay, yeah. Okay, 3-2. But that was just a great game and a great series.
Definitely. I think the craziest game of all was Game 3.
Wait, sorry, it was 4-3.
It was 4-3?
Yeah, okay, I was right.
3-2, okay. The craziest game, I think, was Game 3. Dodgers were up 15-1 after the 3rd inning, after scoring 11 runs in the 1st inning.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked, and then the Braves won the next game 10-3. So they're like, we'll come back with our bats too. So.
Yeah, so the Braves took Game 1 5-1. They won Game 2 8-7, and then, like you said, the Dodgers won Game 3 15-3, and then Game 4 was Atlanta 10-2. So a little bit of back and forth action there with the explosive offense, and then the Dodgers won Game 5 7-3. 3-1 was the final for Game 6, and then, like I said, last night, Game 7, 4-3. Julio Urias was a winning pitcher. He's 4-0. He's looking great. And Kershaw, again, was, a little shaky.
Yeah, he was scratched in Game 2 and because of back spasms, and then he came back and pitched Game 4 and lost badly to the Braves in that game. He gave up so many runs. It was unbelievable. Corey Seager was named the National League MVP this year. He's been on fire at shortstop and the plate. He's definitely the strongest shortstop between the two teams, I think, between the Rays and the Dodgers. I think that's the strongest position between the two. Comparing the teams, I think the Dodgers have better offense and the Rays have better pitching. So it's going to be interesting how the World Series is going to pan out.
Yeah, so going into this World Series matchup now, first things first, who do you like here?
I should be choosing the Rays because the American League, but since they beat the Yankees, I am calling Dodgers in 6.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close, so I'm going to go Tampa in 7. I just think that they're just riding this momentum right now, and they're just a really good team. As much as I don't really like, I mean, I'm happy that they beat the Astros, but at the same time, they're in the same division as the Yankees, so I don't really like them. But I respect how they're a bunch of no-name guys making hardly any money going against one of the top teams salary-wise in the league. And I think they're just a real solid team. And I think it is going to be close. I think the Dodgers are going to give them a run for their money. But that right there, the fact that, they're just good, and the fact that the Dodgers always seem to blow it, I think I'm going to go Tampa here in 7.
All right. Well, I feel like the Rays team is definitely a younger team, so they have less experience than a couple of the guys on the Dodgers, like, for instance, Clayton Kershaw and Mookie Betts. Going back to that salary, there's a big comparison that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw and Mookie Betts together have a combined salary of $26,308,642. The entire Tampa Bay Rays team has a total of $28 million together. So
$28,773,481.
To be exact,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, sorry,
I was just saying how much that just 2 players on the Dodgers teams makes almost equal what the entire Tampa Bay team makes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, just a bunch of no-name guys, hardly playing for any. Well, I mean, obviously they're playing for money, but they don't make any money. And then you have the Dodgers, who just hand out like $100, $200 million contracts here and there. And I think it's a really intriguing matchup because, like you said, the Dodgers have the offensive firepower, and then Tampa has the pitching because between Charlie Morton, Blake Snell, and Tyler Glasnow, that's a real tough top 3.
Oh, definitely. Going back to contracts, actually, aren't a few of these contracts ending, like Mookie Betts and like going to the Yankees? Tanaka's contract is up too. And there's talk that Trevor Bauer is going to get, there's talk that the Yankees are going to take over Trevor Bauer.
But as for Mookie Betts, I mean, he signed that massive contract with the
did?
Dodgers. Yeah.
You did?
I can't remember what the exact details were. I'll try to find that here. But yeah, no, he's good. Let's see. Yeah, 12-year, $365 million contract.
Okay. Well, I was wrong about that one then. Thank you for fact checking me. There's a couple, trades that might happen in the off season. They did announce the MLB draft is happening in January, and who has the first pick? Do you know?
Pirates, actually.
The Pirates.
I just saw that today. Yeah, so the Pirates had pretty bad season, very bad. I think they were 19-41. So they do have some prospects, but
even with the 8 teams making the playoffs, we're not even close to making the playoffs.
Yeah, but I want to go back to this World Series matchup and just kind of like how this whole World Series shook up here. So again, Tampa won 2-0. They swept the Blue Jays in the first round. Then they beat the Yankees 3-2, and then they beat the Astros 4-3. So their record right now is 9-5 in the postseason. The Dodgers swept the Brewers, and then they swept the Padres, and then they beat the Braves 4-3. So they are 9-3. So, pretty identical. I mean, just the couple extra losses for the Rays. And actually, this is the first time since I want to say 2002. I'm not positive on that though, but the first time in a few years that the top 2 teams in each league made the World Series.
It's the since for the fourth time in the wild card era, actually. It happened in 1995, 1999, and 2013. The teams with the best records in both leagues met and meet in the World
2013.
Series.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I was way off on that.
Yeah, way
I
off.
think 2002 was something else that I was thinking of. But yeah.
When a team made the playoffs. I think the Padres was the last time they made the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Or 2004, 16 years or something like that. But I like how the teams, stretched out this postseason because they were shortened with only 60 games this season, and they wanted to play as much baseball as they can. So these teams made the series as long as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if the World Series went to 7 games either.
Yeah, I definitely think that we could be in for that. I just think it's a really intriguing matchup from every angle. Like we're saying, hitting, pitching, money, the storylines with the Dodgers and their faults in the playoffs, and Kershaw, will he be able to step up in the World Series now? Like I said, the third time in 4 years for the Dodgers. They lost to the Red Sox. They lost to the Astros. Can they finally get it done? I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch. Game 1 is tomorrow at 8:09. I know, weird start time.
And then it's 8:08 the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Need that extra minute.
Okay, so there are breaks because the 2 championship series, they just played straight through the week.
Yeah, so
which
it's
was fun.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday they have off.
Yep.
But Kershaw actually gets the first game.
Oh, does he?
Yep,
I was
in
going to say,
Glasnow.
do we know the probables yet?
Tampa Bay announced their first 3 games, the first 3 pitchers for the first 3 games. Glasnow, Snell, and then Bueller. What's his last name? I can't pronounce.
Blake Snell?
No, Blake Snell has the second game.
Wait, oh, Charlie Martin?
No, Charlie Morton does not have a game 3.
Wait, Bueller's for
Oh,
the
sorry,
Dodgers.
they don't have their third pitcher. They have the first 2, and then LA has their third. LA does not have their second game pitcher announced. They have the first and their third game.
Okay, wait. So, it's Tyler Glasnow and Clayton Kershaw tomorrow night.
Yes, that's the matchup for the first game.
And then, let's see here. I'm on the MLB website. Blake Snell for the Rays in Game 2.
No
and
idea
then to
for
be
the Game
determined
2.
for the Dodgers. And then
The
Game
Dodgers.
3.
It'll probably be Morton.
Okay, yeah. So it'll probably be Morton. And you would expect that they're just going to ride out those top 3 pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. So thanks for coming on. And I'm not going to really say go Dodgers or go Rays because, I don't really have a favorite. I guess I want the Dodgers to win. So maybe the next year
I'm always
for the
going to say
Yanks.
go Yankees. So.
Yeah. And I'm always going to say go Bills. So next we will have Trevor on to finish out the show and talk about the NHL free agency. So stay tuned for that.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world
Will you help me make art?
before you throw it away.
Hey, I have an idea.
Think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Trevor Howard joins us now for the NHL part of our show. And Trevor, now it was Josh last week, so we haven't talked about it yet, but we mentioned it briefly on last week's show, but now we can really go in depth here about the Taylor Hall signing. And, I love this for the Sabres.
I do too. Coming from a team that really hasn't made these big moves in free agency, the fact that we see Taylor Hall, a proven solid young vet, to probably be on the same line as Jack Eichel and Victor Olofsson, sign him to a low-risk, 1-year, $8 million contract. Again, like I said, it's very low risk. And if there's going to be a player in this league that's going to make Jack Eichel want to stay here in Buffalo, it's got to be Taylor Hall. And I'm glad that they signed him, because beforehand you saw the Sabres were making these plays and signing these players like you never heard of. Tobias Reeder for $700,000. Matt Irwin and Cody Eakin. And now we have this solid. I was saying this a lot before. The Sabres will be a good team. They'll get off the map if they sign a veteran that's 26, 27, 28 years old. That would be a solid line mate for Eichel and a solid line mate for Olofsson. And they went ahead and did that. Kevin Adams in year 1 as a GM comes out swinging, and Taylor Hall is a Sabre. And again, low risk, 1 year and $8 million. And it might be a Jeff Skinner type deal again, where he has to prove it to get that big payout. And I think Taylor playing on the first line under Ralph Kruger, he played under him in Edmonton in his rookie season. I think he's going to do really well, and he's going to get a big payday in 2021 for sure.
Yeah, I love this for both sides. I mean, first for Taylor Hall, you get to play with Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, low reward or low risk.
Yep.
With just 1 year, you get your money, $8 million, and he's never really had a great center to play with. Now
Exactly.
you go with Jack Eichel, you could potentially go off and get 100 points this year. That raises your value so much more. And then, I hate to say it, but if he doesn't like it here, the Sabres are still losing, he can go get a max contract somewhere else.
Yeah.
So on his side, it's great. And then obviously for the Sabres, it's also great. You're getting a guy who, he's a former MVP in the league.
Yeah.
And
first overall pick in 2010 in the draft.
Yeah. And then these are his point totals since 2010 and 11. So I'll just go through these real quick. 42, 53, 50, 80, 38, 65, 53, 93, 37, and then last year between New Jersey and Arizona, 25 and 27. Yeah. So he's a proven scorer. And like you said, he's going to be on the first line with Eichel. And again, for the Sabres, this just fills, I want to say it fills so many needs. It only filled one need, but it just feels like so much more. Because it's finally, that
we have this
big
solid
player.
presence
Yes.
here now.
Yeah.
And I remember last March watching Jack Eichel in a home game against Montreal, who was not a very good team, out of anger, just slap his stick across the crossbar. You saw he was frustrated with the way the Sabres were handling their players and the management. They ended up throwing out Jason Botterill from the GM job, and then they brought in Kevin Adams, who didn't have any experience. So I'm like, how good can Kevin Adams really be? He's never had a GM experience before, and the Pagulas didn't look outside of the organization to find one. But then he goes out and he gets Eric Stahl. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then later on gets Taylor Hall. Two proven veteran players. Obviously, I'm more hyped up about Taylor Hall coming because Stahl is 36 years old, something like that. But both players will, in their own right, will definitely contribute to the team as much as they possibly can.
So real quick before we go on to the other signings, this is the Sabres' current depth chart. So you have Taylor Hall, Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart on the first line, or Victor Olofsson. That's kind of interchangeable right now.
Yeah.
Second line, Jeff Skinner, Eric Stahl, and then Reinhart or Olofsson. Third line, probably have Dylan Cousins up on there. Cody Eakin, he fills that third line center role, and then Tage Thompson, they're liking him. Finally, maybe a little breakout year here. And then you have the log line back with not Larson, but Lazar, Okposo, and Gergensen, who they also re-signed. And then, the defense is pretty much the same. Darlene, Ristolainen, McCabe, Jokiharju, Miller. They re-signed Montour. They have Allmark and Hutton. But I think they need some help at goalie. We'll see. They also have to sign Reinhart, Olofsson, and Allmark, who are RFAs. So we'll see. But moving on to the rest of the league now. So it's been a crazy offseason. I mean, Tampa just won the Stanley Cup, a couple of weeks ago? And we've already had a ton of moves. I mean, they just jumped right into free agency.
And we just had the draft, too.
Yeah.
And then, just jumping right into it, Vegas Golden Knights signed Alex Pietrangelo to a possibly historic contract, 7 years, $61.6 million for a defenseman in this league. He could end up being the highest paid defenseman in NHL history. Longtime St. Louis Blue. I think he's going to help out the Vegas Golden Knights a lot. They need help on defense. We saw that in the playoffs. They were just getting torched, and they were leaving Robin Leonard out there to make all the saves for them. But Alex Pietrangelo, by the time he hits like 32, 33 years old, he's getting paid almost 20-something million a year. I think that's kind of a high-risk move, but Vegas saw something that they liked and obviously got a big payday out of it.
Now, speaking of St. Louis, they replaced Pietrangelo with Torrey Krug from Boston with a 7-year, $45.5 million contract.
Again, pretty much high risk, but Torrey Krug is younger than Pietrangelo. He's proven that he's very versatile. I mean, he's one of the shortest defensemen, players in the league, but he's also one of those defensemen that can hit and can score a lot of goals too. And I think he's sort of a Swiss Army knife in that role, and I think it's a good signing by the St. Louis Blues, to be honest with you.
Now, Tyler Toffoli, a lot of people thought he would come to the Sabres. Obviously, that didn't happen because we got Taylor Hall, so he went to Montreal, 4 years, $17 million.
And this is a pretty good move, too. 4 years, they're not paying him a lot per year. It's obviously 4 years, 17, so they're not paying him much over $3 million a season. But, yeah, he's won 2 Stanley Cups with the LA Kings. He was on one of the top lines in the league just 3 years ago with him, Anze Kopitar, and can't think of the other guy, but I know he was a solid player for the Kings too. But I think coming to the Eastern Conference and coming to the Atlantic Division, I wouldn't say it's a division that's on the rise, but they're definitely building up talent with the Sabres, the Canadiens, and even the Panthers and the Bruins too. So I think this is a good place for Tyler Toffoli to go, and the Montreal Canadiens are definitely making moves.
Now, just a couple of minutes here, so try to make this quick. Joe Thornton signed with Toronto. He left San Jose after all those years. He said, I need to win the Stanley Cup, so he goes to Toronto. Surprising move there.
Kind of confused. He said he wanted to win a Stanley Cup, but he goes to Toronto. Can't get past the first round, it seems, every single year. But he's been playing in the Sharks organization for 15 years. And after getting drafted by the Boston Bruins in 1997, this is his first time playing for an Eastern Conference team since 2004, when the Bruins traded him to San Jose. So this is big for Jumbo Joe.
And now for some goalies. Henrik Lundqvist, the longtime New York Ranger, 15 years with the Rangers, he left and went to Washington.
It's huge.
Washington's Braden Holtby left. He went to Vancouver. And then Jacob Markstrom, he goes to Calgary. Cam Talbot went to Minnesota, so a lot of goalie moves here. And Hudobin stayed with the Stars after that impressive Stanley Cup run.
It's very, very good for the Dallas Stars because he was playing on his head the entire series. And we saw that in the game 5 and 6 in the finals. So great move for them.
Now, real quick, just some big names that are still on the board. Ilya Kovalchuk, Mike Hoffman, Dominic Cahoon, Sammy Vatanen, Michael Granlund, Travis Hamonic, right?
Yep.
Hamonic, Eric Hala, Derek Brassard, and Alex Galchenyuk. So real quick, you have any predictions for those?
I think Galchenyuk might re-sign with the Dallas Stars, but other than that, these guys can really go anywhere. I mean the Minnesota Wild, not the Dallas Stars, but these guys can really just go anywhere.
Well, I'm happy with the Sabres moves. So, the big one's gone for us. That's Taylor Hall. Maybe a couple moves here and there to round it out. And like I said, they're supposed to start January 1st is the target start date. So thank you for coming on, and we will have another episode next Monday. So same time, actually not the same time. We aired at 9 o'clock tonight because of the Bills game. So we'll be back to 8 o'clock next week. Hopefully the Bills will be 5-2 and can get back on track versus the Jets. We'll have full coverage next week at 8 o'clock. See you then.